Welcome to the Cosplayer Seamstress. I'm Micah. Today we're going to be learning about sewing machines, but before that, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I use a Genome Gem Gold sewing machine. So this video will be a little biased towards that machine, but most machines are similar to this one. So if you do not have this machine, do not worry. What you will learn here will be standard on most machines. First, we will be going over all of the parts of this machine. Here at the top, you have your spool pin. This is where you will put your spool or thread. It is a removable part, which allows for easy storage. There is a setting hole, which allows you to lock this piece in place, just like that. Over here, you have a bobbin spinner. This allows you to make bobbins that match your thread, which I will show you how to do in a few minutes. Over here, you have your thread uptake lever, your thread tension setter. Down here, you have your thread cutter, and then this little piece here is a needle threader. I personally don't use this piece at all. Then you have this lever. This is your foot press. It allows this piece here, your foot, to go up and down. You will want it down when sewing. Next, you have your needle plate, which allows you guidance and protects the needle. Then you have your bobbin cover. This button here releases the bobbin cover so you can access where the bobbin is supposed to go. And then it goes back just like that. Up here you have a reverse needle or a reverse thread lever, which allows you to stitch backwards should you need to. Then you have all of the different needle or stitch patterns, which we will go over later. You also have a stitch indicator, which tells you which stitch you currently have in use. On the back of this here, you have your hand wheel, which allows you to stitch one stitch at a time by spinning it. Then your pattern or your stitch pattern wheel, which when you turn it, changes the stitch on your indicator and changes the stitch that you are actually making. Then you have your power, which turns the machine on and off, and then this socket, which allows you to connect your machine to the electricity and to connect your foot pedal as well. This is the foot pedal. It allows you to sew quickly without using the hand wheel. Next thing we'll be learning to do is how to wind a bobbin, which is just a fancy way of saying making a bobbin that matches the thread that you're using. First, make sure you have your thread on your spool pin. Then take the thread. What you're going to do is go down, catching the thread on that little latch there, and then waiting until you hear a click. This is your first thread guide. Then you'll wrap the thread around the second thread guide, just like that. Once you have your thread through both thread guides, you're going to take your bobbin, which can be plastic or metal. This one's plastic. You're going to take your thread and thread it through this little hole that's right there on the thread, on the bobbin. You want to go from the inside of the bobbin to the outside. Then you'll put your bobbin on the spool thread. The next thing that you're going to do is make sure that the machine is set to make a bobbin, not set to sew. To do that, you'll pull the hand wheel on the side until you hear it click. This makes it so that it is not sewing or connected to the needle at all. Then you'll push the bobbin to the side. Once this is all set up, I recommend holding this thread here, this excess that you have. You push on the foot pedal for a few seconds just to get it started. After that, you're going to cut this excess thread off. Once you've cut your excess thread off, you'll hold the foot pedal down until the bobbin stops spinning, like this. This is your indicator that you have enough thread on your bobbin. What we're going to do next is thread the machine. The easiest way to do this is first, make sure you have thread on your spool pin. Then, you're going to set this up just like you did while setting up the bobbin. Only this time, instead of going over to this thread guide, you're going to bring the thread straight down. After you've brought the thread straight down, you'll actually follow these guides. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the thread back up again. Then, up here where your lever is, you're going to make sure that the thread gets inside. Then you'll bring it straight down again and through this little latch on the needle. After you've done all of that, the trick now is just threading the needle, getting the thread through the eye. You can use your thread, your needle threader. I don't like to use that because to me it's just too much in the way. So what you'll do is get the thread through the eye, just like that. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is put the thread underneath the foot so that the thread goes off the back of the machine. Next, we're going to be threading the bobbin. To start, you're going to remove your bobbin cover. Remember, to do this, you push the button on the side and it releases the plastic piece. Now, this bobbin cover is very useful. It has a guide that tells you exactly how to put the bobbin in. I'll show you how to do it based off of this guide. Here's the bobbin. You want the thread to be coming around this way. And this part's tricky. You just want to latch it there, you'll hear it click, and now your bobbin's good. Then you're going to put your plastic cover back on. Now this next part's kind of like magic. I like to hold the thread from the spool. You can even put your presser foot down. It's going to bring that bobbin up, that thread, just like so. You'll want to catch that thread. Since it's so small on this particular example, I'm going to get a pin to do that. Taking a pin, I'm going to catch that thread and pull it all the way through. I'm going to put the presser foot back up, and then you want this thread to go all the way back underneath the presser foot, just like before. Now, you only need to know which stitch pattern you're going to use. To start, there are 3 simple straight stitching patterns. They are of varying length. For these, you will put your tension setting at about 4, although you can use any setting between 2 and 6. I personally prefer the number 2 setting, but you can use any one of these 3. Here's an example of each of the 3 straight stitch patterns. Next, you have your triple straight stitch. This stitch is used for areas that need strong, durable stitching, such as the crotch or under the arms. It should also have the same tension setting as the simple straight stitching patterns. Here is an example of the triple straight stitch pattern. Next, you have your overcast stitch patterns. These are used to make sure there are no raw edges and should be used for final hems. The tension setting for this is between 3 and 6. Here is an example of an overcast stitching. I'm not sure what number 8 is. I have never had to use it. Number 9 is the tricot stitch pattern. This is used for finishing seam allowances on synthetic fabrics or any fabrics that tend to pucker. The tension setting is the same as the overcast stitches. Here is an example of the tricot stitching. Finally, you have your zigzag stitches. There are 3. Like the simple straight stitch patterns, the difference is the size of the stitch. These are good for buttons, buttonholing, hemming, and should have a tension setting between 2 and 5. Again, I prefer this one, number 12. Here is an example of each of the 3 zigzag stitch patterns. Now that you know all the parts of the machine, how to make a bobbin, how to thread both the spool and the bobbin, and all the different stitch patterns, you are ready to start any project. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you on the next project.